Hello and welcome to the top 8 of the World Magic Cup Qualifier here in Indianapolis, Indiana. We are underway. Second seed Zach Stern with Jund Monsters is fading off against Josh Bauer with Black Devotion splashing a little touch of green. I'm Adrian Sullivan in the booth with Brian Kowal, and the action is just getting underway.
And Zach starting out as a full hand against Josh Bauer's 5-card double mulligan hand. He starts with a Scryland, and Josh Bauer will return with a Thoughtseize, revealing a Mizium Mortars, a Courser of Krufix, a Xenagos, and a Stormbreath Dragon. Personally, I take that Courser of Krufix.
When you're down that many cards already, he's already double mulliganed. A card like Courser, not only is it the first spell that Zach Stern can actively cast, it's also yet another way that Zach could get ahead.
Definitely. There's just so much inherent card advantage that's going to be coming from that Courser.
The alternative is since, well, no, never mind. Zach was on the play, so he will get to the Courser before a Lifebane Zombie would be able to come to action. So yeah, I think it's Courser pretty easily. He goes with a Xenagos.
Well, he's probably played the matchup more than we have.
Well, besides that, we also don't know what's in his hand. Whether it's like, for example, Dreadbore, the first time that Courser is cast, what ends up happening at that point is it's not going to be able to lay an extra land, so it won't be until turn 4 that the land will actually be able to be grabbed.
Unless you save it.
To the bottom. Untap, second turn here for Josh Bauer. Zach Stern. He's got a little bit of black in his deck. So it's a touch of black for a Jund Monsters build. Josh Bauer with Black Devotion here. You can see the green. Is that a Temple of Malady, I think? Thoughtseize first information before he gets the scry on. Stormbreath Dragon, Mizium Mortars, Courser of Krufix, 2 land.
Yep, looks like Zach just picked up a land.
Let's see if he takes that Courser or if he decides something else is in. There it goes. Oh, he's touching it. This isn't chess, so if he takes his finger off, he doesn't have to take it. Okay, there it goes. Courser is gone. I think we're going to see a Temple of Malady.
Yeah. This took all the pressure off him with a double Thoughtseize draw. Zach's first play now is going to be hopefully on turn 5 with a Stormbreath Dragon. Unless he can draw something here. He didn't. He drew a Blood Crypt.
Yep.
Okay. We've got a Blood Crypt, a Mizium Mortars, a Mutavault, Stormbreath Dragon, and a Forest is that last card.
Zach not playing the Blood Crypt. I think he wants Josh not to know that what his draw was. If he plays the Blood Crypt, he still has perfect information in the hand.
A Lifebane Zombie drops and whiffs. Mizium Mortars, and he says, aha, Blood Crypt, see? And that's going to be the end of that turn. Going on to Zach Stern here. Elvish Mystic is the card drawn. Mizium Mortars is a very powerful card against a lot of opponents, but in this matchup it doesn't deal with a Desecration Demon, and we see it activate Mutavault. He's daring that Lifebane Zombie to block.
Interesting. I think I block.
Okay, I thought you said 14.
But it's really interesting.
There's the block.
Because in the dark you block, but he has the Elvish Mystic to still have the Stormbreath Dragon show up on time.
So long as that elf lives. There's a downfall which could kill the elf or could be saved for the dragon. I think that was a downfall.
But I think he's more likely to Devour Flesh it, since it's not with the elf in play, the Devour Flesh isn't going to get anything big anyway.
No land drop for Josh Bauer. If you're just joining us, this is the quarterfinals of the World Magic Cup Qualifier in Indianapolis, Indiana. Stormbreath Dragon is being added to the side for Jund Monsters. It quickly is no longer a hero. It's dead. Josh Bauer untaps, looking for a 4th mana for that demon in his hand. I guess it's just going to have to be this Lifebane Zombie.
And it's going to kill an elf.
There's 1 card back after that double mulligan. We see the Mizium Mortars and a Forest in hand. Is he going to offer the elf up? Yeah. I'll take it, says
Another
Josh.
trade.
I mean, in terms of a race, Lifebane Zombie is a little bit faster. And he says go. Again, not giving the information away for that mana that Josh really doesn't need to know about. In for 3. The race is on 17 to 15.
And Josh isn't even that far behind anymore. Double mulliganing, but Zach's drawn on a lot of lands and fairly ineffectual mana creatures.
Yeah, not very much in the way of action here. And now with that land that he's put into play and the land that he has in his hand, he has the ability, if he needs to overload the Mizium Mortars at will. And remember, Josh knows that Mizium Mortars is there.
I think another advantage of playing the monsters list is that it's actually tuned. Like a lot of these Planeswalker decks floating around, like I don't think that the Hive Mind has necessarily gotten the perfect mix, but like there was so much Jund monsters being played 4 months ago that we kind of know what's going to work well.
And we said at the beginning of the day that there are a lot of decks and a lot of builds of decks that have been forgotten, but that doesn't mean they're not good still.
Right.
Untap after a pretty weak turn there, attacks for 1 and lays a land. Josh Bauer at 13, Zach's turn at 14. Still no 4th land for Josh.
Yeah, I'm just really surprised he's not pulling the trigger on that Mizium Mortars.
And 4 mana, Demon. Now things are actually looking very bad for Zach.
Definitely.
Is that a second Mizium Mortars?
Yeah, he can.
Wow,
he can kick the Mizium Mortars and.
Oh wait, no, not enough red.
Not enough red sources. Yeah.
Unless there's a red in his hand.
I think kicking Mizium Mortars is red, 3, right?
The overload is red, 3. So he can't do both of them.
Right. He
and
won't
kill
be able
both
to
creatures.
play the second Mizium Mortars and kill the demon.
I think we're going to see the Elvish Mystic sacrifice to kill the, or not kill, to tap the Desecration Demon.
Yeah, he might as well. He needs to draw a red source in order to kill it anyway.
Trigger. Trigger. Got anything? Zach is maybe considering just taking the hit. I don't know that I would want to do that.
Seems a little crazy.
He's nope. He's just taking his time, thinking his options. In for 3, Zach's turn down to 8. If Josh Bauer drew a land, look at those multiple Gray Merchants in hand. Go, show me you got something that you can do. Xenagos, not enough.
If he wouldn't have blocked with the elf.
Okay, our runner lets us know that the current game count in the other matches, Matt Hoey up 1-0 and Mark Anthony Bird up 1-0. So that's Black-White Midrange up 1 game versus Black Devotion, and Blue Devotion up 1 game versus Blue-White Control. Meanwhile, in this game, we've got, I believe, a Xenagos hitting the table in a moment, and it's probably going to create a Satyr that's going to be eaten by the demon, and probably a Mizium Mortars is, well, not probably, maybe a Mizium Mortars will kill the Lifebane Zombie, maybe it won't. We got an ancient deck box there, the first Legion Supplies deck box, wow.
Yeah, I think he has to kill the Lifebane Zombie, otherwise he loses Xenagos and will die soon after that to the demon.
Right.
Demon's a really rough card in this spot for Zach's deck, it looks like. He has 2 Dreadbores to answer it.
And there we see...
or...
no land. Oh, wow. Abrupt Decay can kill the Satyr. And then there will be no creature around to trigger to feed to the demon.
That would knock Zach down to 1.
Boom, Satyr. Go to 1.
He doesn't have a Boon Satyr in his deck.
I said boom.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Goodbye, Xenagos. All of the resources being stripped away. And then here's a Pack Rat. Nice. Well played by Josh Bauer here. And Sylvan Caryatid, all it can do is hold down the demon for half a second. I think what's going to have to happen, he's going to have to Mizium Mortars that Pack Rat and then lay the Sylvan Caryatid. I suppose he can wait if he wants, and then it seems very risky, though. I mean, he does have a mortars he can overload if another pack rat is made, but...
Yeah, and no matter what, like if he overloads, he still has to kill the demon as well.
Yeah, he goes for it, kills that rat now. And Zach Stern.
I just got another game result. Matt Hoey has won his match.
That was quick.
2-0 very quickly over his Black Devotion opponent.
Now Zach Stern in an odd position here. If he feeds the demon will kill him next turn. So we might as well keep the Sylvan Caryatid around, maybe. Wow, are there any draws now?
Nice thing about only drawing 4 lands is your hand is just constant gas.
There was a land drawn by Zach Stern, and that won't do it. There's nothing here but death for him. And I think he's just waiting to see if he can get any little dribble more information from Josh Bauer. 1 life, death on the way. Just waiting to see what else he can learn.
Sometimes 1 rat's all you need.
Trigger. I'll sacrifice it. In for 1, I'll die. Okay. That is our first game there.
An odd first game. The red-green monsters deck getting a little flooded, and the double mulligan, and Josh pulled it out by only drawing 4 lands.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things is usually when you hear that a Black Devotion deck has won after double mulliganing, usually you expect that the path to victory was a Thoughtseize into a pack rat or an Underworld Connections running amok. This was none of that.
No. It was just opponent not drawing anything.
Yep. But what happened, right? Josh took out the first Xenagos with a Thoughtseize, took out a Courser with a second Thoughtseize, and then just kind of dribbed and drabbed with a Lifebane zombie until eventually a Desecration Demon hit play, and Zach Stern, mana, whiff.
It might be that a lot of players just aren't worrying enough when they have a mana-loaded hand against the Black Devotion deck. Multiple times we've just seen Thoughtseize tear apart a strategy because they might have kept like a 4-land hand, 4 or even 5, you know.
Josh Bauer here, his sideboard, if we go through all of the cards, 2 Golgari Charm, 1 Drawn in Sorrow, 2 Bile Blight, 2 Farika's Cure, 1 Underworld Connections, 1 Erebos, 3 Duress, 1 Dark Betrayal, 2 Doomblade. I particularly like the Doomblade against decks that have Pelucrano, Stormbreath Dragon, Scavenging Ooze, that kind of thing. Those should be quite good. Golgari Charm is not a terrible card to either wipe out, you know, the remnants of elves or creatures that blocked and get that last -1 in, or just to protect your creature from a removal spell.
Yeah, his board looks a little light to this monsters deck, but mainly probably because he has 4 Lifebane Zombie Man. I think I'd be bringing Underworld Connections. I think like the monsters deck doesn't clock you that quickly a lot of the time, so I think he just wants a steady stream of removal spells to deal with Zach's deck.
Zach Stern's sideboard is 3 Nylea's Disciple, 2 Ultimate Price, 2 Golgari Charm, 2 Rakdos Returns, 1 Abrupt Decay, 2 Mistcutter Hydra, 3 Anger of the Gods. The first thing that I'm thinking about right there, Ultimate Price is one of the very few cards that Zach Stern can use to kill a demon. Demon, an incredible weapon in this match. Yeah. And Rakdos Returns has always been one of those cards that you can really punish someone that's using their life as a resource, and these black decks often are going down a little bit here, a little bit there. I like those cards quite a bit. After that, though, I think it becomes a question of how you think your opponent's deck plays out. Are there any other cards you like in this matchup?
Don't worry about it.
I could see the Golgari Charm potentially doing some work. He can use as a counterspell for Josh's removal spells.
Golgari Charm also does kill Lifebane zombies if there happen to be multiple zombies out. It can also kill the Underworld Connections if it's in play, or just protects a Pelucranos from a Doomblade.
Yeah, it can mess with the math on a Plague Rat too, or Pack Rat.
Oh, Plague Rats.
Same card.
Yeah. Yeah. As Mark Rosewater once said, do you know what I like about Type 1? You can play all the rats. If you're a new player to the game, Type 1 is what old people call vintage.
Yeah.
You can see these two players Zach Stern with Jund Monsters down the first game. In the back, in back of Josh Bauer here. Black Devotion, double mull, not enough to stop him.
Do you think Abrupt Decay is worth bringing in for the Underworld connections?
I mean, Abrupt Decay has a lot of targets. You get your Underworld connections, you've got your Lifebane Zombie and your Pack Rat. I don't think it's unreasonable. One of the things I find sometimes with the Abrupt Decay, when you have the 2 Pack Rats already out, it feels pretty weak. When you can't kill a Desecration Demon and can't kill a Mutavault, sometimes you feel a little sad about it. I don't know this matchup well enough to have an opinion on it, but I could see an arguments for and against.
God, I hope so.
This is GG's Live, and I'm glad you're watching. I'm Adrian Sullivan here in the booth with Brian Kowal. This is the WMCQ, the World Magic Cup Qualifier, and we're in our first round of this top 8 in Indianapolis, Indiana. Zach Stern down a game with Jund Monsters versus Josh Bauer with Black Devotion, a touch of green in there.
Yep, only one winner here is going to go on to play on the national team with Owen Turtenwald and Isaac Sears.
Yeah, Isaac Sears. He brought Rabble Red to the party out in the West Coast, and really just, it sounded to me from all reports that there was a lot of Rabble Red, but people weren't even really ready for it. Here at this event, one of the talks of the event, I think, was Burn. A lot of players playing Burn at the event. No one made the top 8, but I kind of wonder if Rabble Red failed to show up to the party because the Burn knocked it out, or if everyone's just ready for Rabble Red now.
I think people were a little more ready. I think they made some adjustments. You don't really see a black deck without some Drown and Sorrows on the board now, and blue got a lot more popular, and that's a pretty good matchup.
Yeah, the thing about metagames in the current age, a week can feel like a lifetime, let alone, you know, a few events. And if you've been paying attention to the standard week in, week out, it almost feels like every week is an entirely new format when it comes to what you see in the top 8s. And a lot of players have talked about standard being played out or otherwise completely done with. And while it's true that there aren't any exciting brand spanking new decks for the most part, there are some really great interactions.
Mm-hmm. So, we'll be starting the second game. It looks like they've gotten done sideboarding, handed off their decks.
I guess you kind of could.
Zach Stern will be on the play here.
Roll to figure out whether or not you're playing or drawing. I think that would be bad.
Okay. Lots of shuffling, almost as much as in Modern or Legacy, where you have to shuffle constantly.
Yeah, they took their time sideboarding, especially Zach.
Yeah, one of the things I know, just a quick step away from this match, one of the things I'm not looking forward to in the Khans of Tarkir, the return of fetch lands to standard Magic. I don't miss shuffling when it comes to standard. Even Elixir doesn't happen all that often.
To be fair, I think I remember during like Zendikar, there were a lot less. You didn't play as many sack lands. Like even when I was looking at what I was like working on my Mythic deck a couple weeks ago, looked at the old like Zv lists of Mythic. There were only like 6 sack lands in those decks because you just couldn't play that many basics.
And we've got our game underway. It's a turn 1 Forest into Elvish Mystic from Zach Stern. And we got a turn 1 Temple of Malady from Josh Bauer. Stays it on top.
Looks like Zach's been able to set up a turn 2 Courser of Krufix here.
Courser of Krufix reveals a temple. Will that Courser live?
Courser Krufix, a card I'm very excited to play with the sack lands coming up, though, in Standard. It's such a great interaction.
Courser, another card that Golgari Charm can kill. And we see Josh Bauer here thinking. I kind of wonder if he's trying to choose a way to kill that Courser, or if he's in trouble.
It's hard to see his hand. He's gonna guarding it from us.
Pack Rat.
He's gonna play Pack Rat.
Okay. I can see a Pelucranos. I can see a Mizium Mortars. Temple goes into the hand. A Rakdos Returns is revealed.
It's like Gore Clan Rampager in his hand as well. Where is that?
can't quite make it out. One of the only things that Zach Stern doesn't have is access to colored mana. He has it in his hand, but he doesn't have it in play yet. He's got green and Mutavault. There we go. A little bit of pain. 4 mana. Is this going to be Pelucranos?
Tap out for Pelucranos.
Here's Polly.
This game's looking good for Zach.
Yeah, Zach is looking like a very commanding position.
Yeah, this is pretty much the draw you want with monsters. Get a quick Courser in play, quick Pelucranos. Not draw any more lands off the top of your deck.
I mean, it almost feels like Elvish Mystic is a fair version of Time Walk with the way it plays out in this deck.
Yeah, none of the decks don't really have a fast answer to it in the current standard.
Okay, look at this. 3rd land. Hero's Downfall put to the front of Josh Bauer's hand. Here you go, Polly. Have this cracker. In for 1. I definitely still love Zach Stern's position here.
Yeah, he's definitely has backup threats.
There's a Scavenging Ooze. You can see the Temple in hand. And Josh Bauer already knows that a Rakdos Returns is lying in wait in Zach Stern's hand. Temple. Let's look to see, do we want this Scavenging Ooze or not? I think he might have said yes. Scavenging Ooze is one of those cards that when you're using it, it just lets you get so much late game power out of it. There's a Mutavault coming in. Here comes the team, in for 5.
It's going to knock Josh down to 13. Didn't realize now that he did not have red mana to play his core clan.
Lots of cards in Josh Bauer's hand, but more important than cards right now is just getting something going. He needs to get something developed.
Yeah, I think he has a Thoughtseize in his hand. So it's a good thing he kept that Scavenging Ooze on top.
I think I see a Sign in Blood as well. And
does he have an Urborg in play?
I don't see the Urborg. Okay, yeah, he's just so used to Urborg being in play, I guess. Look at that hand. We got a Gorklan Rampager, a Rakdos Returns, and a Mizium Mortars. Only 1 red source. Right. The Mortars is not particularly effective. I think it's man.
So he can take the 4/4 out of his hand and slow down his threats, or he can take the Rakdos Return and have a hand.
I actually feel like, given how low his life total is, it's a hard call either way.
Looks like he's going to the return.
Yep. Pack Rat, joined by Mutavault and 3 other lands. We see the Doomblade there. I mean, yeah, Josh Bauer is not out of the woods in any sense of the word.
He still has Pack Rat going. He could potentially just make a rat here and hope to weather the storm.
Zach Stern at 18 life with Jund Monsters. And on the right, Josh Bauer at 11 life with Black Devotion splashing green. He decides to come in with the Pack Rat. 1 damage, it sounds like.
Not looking very impressive this game against the Jund Monsters there. The Pack Rat, I mean.
He says go. Scavenging Ooze gets drawn. Courser of Krufix backup on top. And now that Zach Stern's hand has been revealed, Josh Bauer knows about that Gorklan Rampager. Obviously, though, all of that black mana open from Josh, Zach Stern has to smell the removal that's in his hand.
Yeah, you're expecting something to die here.
Here comes Mutavault.
He's still going to activate Mutavault.
In come Courser. and Mutavault.
Trying to knock Josh down to 7.
Looks like
Josh
is going to take it and let Zach decide to be active. Here's Scavenging Ooze. And I think we might see a rat be created at the end of this turn.
Yeah, Zach didn't really add that much to the board, so I think it's definitely worthwhile to develop his rats.
So at this point, Josh has turned that corner into the spot where he's got multiple rats out, and he's going to have access to 5 mana. So 5 mana is going to mean a Doomblade plus another rat activation. The Doomblade will protect Josh from whatever creature might get Gorklan Rampagered, or however you verb that noun.
I think Zach probably wants to hardcast the Gorklan.
And now his hand is broken.
We'll see what he does.
And Zach Stern on the left, Jund Monsters, 17 life. This is the quarterfinals of the World Magic Cup qualifier on GG's Live. Josh Bauer on the right with Black Devotion, currently up a game, but under a lot of pressure right now. See Scavenging Ooze ticking up.
Thank you.
We do have our another match in. Andrew Beckstrom won 2-0 Blue Devotion versus Black Blue Devotion. So far, our predictions have gone pretty well. You can see Zach Stern now at 18 because of the Scavenging Ooze. No land showing up. Zach Stern kind of choked out a little bit here on developing his game. He started out strong, but he has not had very good follow-up from the top of his deck.
Yeah, I think he's in a pretty good spot to just attack with the Mutavault, the Ooze, and the Courser here, though.
And he goes a little bit more conservative with just the Courser and the Scavenging Ooze. One awesome trick, the discard of the Gorklan Rampager is also fuel for the Scavenging Ooze.
That won't stop Doomblade guy, though.
I'm also paying attention.
And we see another rat created.
He's got a set of 3/3s now to defend against these 2 creatures.
9 power. A lot of power. The Scavenging Ooze has at least a tiny little bit of food in the graveyard, I think, on Zach Stern's side. I don't think there's any on Josh Bauer's side. Zach Stern's graveyard is stacked up on top of it, so you can't see anything other than the Rakdos returns.
I'm not sure there is anything else in his graveyard right now.
You could be right. I don't remember.
He removed the Pelucranos.
We got a double block here, and it looks like the Courser is being allowed through. And will Zach Stern pull the trigger and use a Gorklan Rampager? There are 2 open mana available, plus that Mutavault by itself means that these rats can become 4/4s at will.
It's possible Zach should have Mizium Mortars a pack rat before attacking the real one.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. He's got so few mana sources. He's just so constrained.
Yeah, it would have given him the option to boost up his Scavenging Ooze here if in the case of this double block.
And it's on Zach Stern to make a decision now. Josh Bauer has called the double block and is basically saying, what do you got? I know you got a Gorklan Rampager in your hand. Do you want to use it now? If he does, that Scavenging Ooze can become 8/8 total, maybe more if there happens to be anything else. That's +4/+4, and then it is in the graveyard.
Yeah, he's going to use the Rampager, and his Ooze is probably getting Doombladed here.
And he's Doomblade. And the real question here is, does Zach Stern use the Scavenging Ooze to gain a life before it dies? Nope. Take 2. Josh Bauer down to 5. Another Courser. Zach Stern actually, I think, is in trouble.
Yeah, this isn't looking good for him. He needs to find some red sources fast. I mean, he has one on top of the deck, so.
Sign in Blood in hand for Josh Bauer. It's a good card, but it's a dangerous one right now, given how low he is.
Yeah. Does draw 2 rats, though.
And one of the things, Corsair Crewfix is a great card, but perfect information for Josh Bauer. Every draw is a known quantity.
Yeah, I think Josh has been playing well with the perfect information he has so far.
I've been very impressed by Josh Bauer all weekend. You know, meeting him yesterday in the 1K, the TCG player Gold, he just was very impressive. And every time that I've watched him play, he just seems very thoughtful and comes up with a plan. A lot of players, I think, they look right in front of themselves, so to speak. What do I do right now? Mm-hmm. Josh Bauer lifts his head up and looks forward. Where am I going? How do I get there? Is that a Gray Merchant in hand? Can't quite tell. I think he's got a Gray Merchant and another black spell, but I'm not sure.
I don't think he has a lot to fear from. I don't think he needs the Gray Merchant here. I honestly think he can just sign in Blood here and make another rat and be okay. Zach has no flyers. We know a Caryatid's coming.
You can see right now, Josh has decided the tables have turned and it is time to start killing his opponent. Well, he's considering it at least. He's considering it.
Maybe losing a little of his resolve in the middle of that declare.
He's like, you know, maybe something could happen. No blocks, and immediately another rat joins the party.
Sign in Blood. Sign in Blood.
Goodbye. Now we've got 4 rats. Zach Stern going down to 14. And Josh Bauer in a very commanding position. Oh, wow. Scavenging Ooze. The Mizium Mortars can't even kill a rat now. They're currently 4-4, but that Mutavault can up them all to 5/5s.
All right, take back what I said about Pack Rat being underwhelming in this game.
Take back C's.
BK's wrong again.
We see Sylvan Caryatid joining the party.
Yeah, he can't even kick a Mortars. He can't even Mortars kick his way out of this.
And it looks like it's passing the turn over to Josh Bauer. Josh Bauer, remember, has a Gray Merchant of Asphodel in his hand as well.
Looks like he just drew another Pack Rat. I didn't see what the card was.
If that was another Pack Rat, he could, if he wanted to, cast a Pack Rat for 2 mana to have a slight discount on a Pack Rat rather than the activation. Here comes the team. This is threatening lethal. What you gonna do? Your move. Zach Stern, I believe, is a Wisconsin player. I know that he's friends with Lucas Carlson, who we saw on the camera last round. Yep. Josh Bauer, I think, is a local.
Yeah, the name sounds really familiar. Not sure he's from Wisconsin or not.
I'm used to seeing him at Midwest events. He's constantly at Midwestern events, and certainly somebody that has been at tons of Pro Tour qualifiers in the Madison, Milwaukee, Chicago area. Josh Bauer, like I said, just met him this weekend, but I think he is a local to the Indianapolis area. He could be from further away, though.
Zach has to really have to make some good blocks here to survive this turn, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
like, he could chump everything and survive, but then he doesn't really. There's really no way he can win the game, or he can like try. If Josh wants, he can make 6/6 rats here. So he can't let 3 of them through, and even 2 of them are gonna. Even 2 of them getting through probably kills him.
Got an interesting note from Twitter. In the other match our player Lucas Parson with Black Devotion, who did lose. Apparently, he's Matt Hoey, who defeated him. Parsons apparently has top-8'd 4 PTQs in a row.
Wow.
It's pretty impressive
He's
these days.
running pretty hot.
We've got a potential block here. Looks like it's been declared. 2 rats getting on through, and Josh Bauer is content to just say, take 8. And then a little bit of a chopping down of what's left. And I think there's all she wrote. Take 6. And that's it. Josh Bauer defeats Zach Stern 2-0.
We'll move on to the semis.
It looks like our other match is in the midst of being played there in the background. One thing that we're not going to do is we're not going to be so cruel to our players as to try to move them mid-game. That's not a thing that we ever would want to do to anyone. So we do have a bunch of results, though. At the top of the bracket, Andrew Beckstrom, affectionately known as BK to his Chicago friends, Blue Devotion.